while we're waiting, I'm just going to say something because this is important to me. Recently, just a few days ago, in New Jersey, I spoke about the importance of al-awqaf and developing a system of endowments. Why? Because most of our institutions are donor-based institutions, meaning that what? How do we raise money? On Friday, we tell people, please donate, don't forget to donate to the masjid, donate. And we do it every day, and then in Ramadan, we don't start Taraweeh until we're going to raise $20,000, close the doors, nobody leaves, nobody gets in, raise the money, right? And we've been doing this for what, 30 years, 40 years?
And we're about to do that in a few minutes. Go ahead.
Do you, but the issue is this, Islam, that this is not a sustainable method. Nobody would do that for their own business. No businessman would run his business on donations. And our institutions, for the survival of our institutions and for the quality of our institutions, we are going to have to change that narrative. We cannot continue like that. And we should be ashamed of ourselves if we allow another 20 years to go by and the next generation of Muslims is doing the exact same thing that we're doing. Right now, do you know a masjid? Do you know a masjid that is not on a tight budget? I'm just being honest. Do you know a masjid that, and I'm going to be real with you here. You have imams that have studied for 8 years, right? 8 years is the equivalent in this part of the world of at least a master's degree. And they want to pay an imam $40,000, $50,000, right? And think they're doing something. This man studied, dedicated a quarter of his life or more to the study of Islam. And we want to build quality institutions, and we want to encourage the best minds. I take a step back. No, because this is important. You look at a place like Sweden, for example, where education, they weren't like anywhere near the top in the field of education. So what did they do? They looked at the social engineering of the people. They weren't able to get the best minds because they weren't paying their teachers enough. And so a person that actually wants to have a decent living for himself and for his family, they would go into law, they would go into engineering and this type of thing like that. So then they started saying, no, wait a minute. If we can change the way that people think about education, then we can attract some of the better minds. So what did they do? The government required that every teacher has a master's degree. And they're going to pay them a salary that is on the same tier as other professionals like lawyers. And then guess what happened? They started getting some of the better minds going into education. The teachers, therefore, became better teachers and passed that education on down to the students. And it changed their whole structure. We have to do the same thing. What happens a lot of times, this is the reality in the Arab world. If you're extra smart, and Dr. Ahmed can verify this, if you are extra smart, you get the 99 percentile in that, then they push you into the medical field. If you're below that, they push you into engineering, down, and if you really just don't show any aptitude, then they encourage you to study religion, right? And so we get this whole class of mediocrity when it comes to deen. And to be honest with you, that may have been okay for a certain period of our history as human beings where the world wasn't changing a lot. So you may have a 400, 500 year period where there was not much change in the world, and therefore we didn't need the brightest minds because there wasn't much. But now, after the Industrial Revolution and electricity, and now with the internet, things are changing daily. We need the best and the brightest minds to deal with the challenges that we face as Muslims in this country and around the world. We're not dealing right now, the Muslims are not dealing with issues of, we got Muslims becoming Christian or Muslims becoming, no. We're dealing with some powerful atheist and agnostic arguments, post-enlightenment views of religion, and nobody's talking about this stuff. Why? Because faqidu shay la yu'ti. The one who does not have cannot give. But we've created that mediocrity because we've devalued the position of imam and teacher and so on and so forth. And it's not that we've intentionally devalued it, but our institutions cannot financially support it. Why? Because we base everything on a donor system. Now, let's reverse the trend. And let's say we're going to do this like the Muslims did it of the past and like the Americans do it now, which is that every institution has an endowment. And you will not be an accredited institution without an endowment. This is in America. It's become part of American culture, but it was the part of the Muslim culture first. And that is, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to do those things which are sadaqatun jariyah, right? That there's constant, residual revenue that comes from it. And so, what we are doing, alhamdulillah, myself and a number of other du'at, along with professionals, we have, walillah alhamd, we have educators and education, people in the field of education administration, and investors and business people and entrepreneurs and medical staff, to the end of it, alhamdulillah. Right now, we have a team of approximately 80 professionals who are working towards this effort of establishing endowments. Because this is the way forward. And we have to turn the page on a donor-based system and move towards endowments. What is an endowment? It means, it's a very simple concept. It means that we put our money into something that has a return on the investment. That may be property, it may be a farm, it may be many different things. And just to give you an example, it's the same concept with people who flip homes. You go buy something for $100,000, you put $40,000 in it, you sell it for $200,000. Or you rent it if the rent is enough that it makes sense, and there's a proper return on that investment, and that stays with you. That stays with you. The concept clear or no? Yes. So in other words, I'll just give you another words. You go to the masjid, because I've been there. You go to the masjid, and the guy tells you the 27th night of Ramadan, we're not going to start Taraweeh until we raise $100,000. No, I'm serious. So then you get this guy, alhamdulillah, so okay. Now, finally, the guy comes and saves the day and gives the last 10,000. Okay, what do they do with the 100,000? Well, Allah, you won't believe it. What do they do? They put some asphalt down on the parking lot. Okay? Like, it's permissible. They put the tar down, they buy a nice chandelier, do whatever, they make the outside fancy. $100,000 going like that. Okay. Now, can we live without the new carpet and the chandelier and all? We can live without that. Take that $100,000, okay? Buy a house, as Barry can tell you about Baltimore, right? Buy a house for $50,000, put $30,000 in it, okay, so we still got $20 left. That's at $80,000 that we put in. Let it sit. Let it rent for $1,000. Let's just put it like that. Let's just let it rent for $1,000. When will it stop bringing you $1,000 a month? Huh? Never. Never. Inshallah, you'll be getting that $1,000 a month for the next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, until you decide that is not as beneficial as flipping it or whatever. We'll talk about the flip of it later. Do you understand the difference in the concept? All right, so come on. If you understand it, because we're moving forward, alhamdulillah, and we have met people in different areas that want to do this. All we got to do is pull our resources together. If you are interested in this, and you don't have to, but if you are, because this is paving a new way for how we're going to do things in this country, inshallah ta'ala, take out your cell phones now. All right? Go to, you ready? Walk it step by step. Go to G as in go, C as in come on, L as in lazy, GCL, E as in email, A as in app, GCLEA.org. Do it now, Sean. You there? You there? Like at the top, right of the page. No, GCLE A. You wrote GCLE. You there? You have the survey monkey? Okay. Fill it out, inshallah. It's going to take 45 seconds. Start now. Bismillah. And don't ask which name. You can put Abu, whoever, you can put your government name, as they say. So it says, if you're here, it's because you believe that the way forward for the Muslim community in America is through highly focused and collective efforts led by a strategic and religious-minded management. Got it? That the way forward for the Muslim community in America is through highly focused and collective efforts led by a strategic and religious-minded management. Listen, Ikhwan, we're not doing stuff the way stuff's been done for the last 20 years, the last 40 years, and expecting things to change. And this is not a slight to the brothers who have been working hard to establish Islam in this country. It's not a slight. It's just to say that the times have changed. And because the times have changed, we have to be ahead of the curve. We can't keep doing things the way that they've been done. We would not be here today if it were not for the efforts of the brothers and the sisters who, for the last, 3-4 decades, put a lot of sweat equity and a lot of their money down so that we can have these type of institutions that we have right now. But that this is not a sustainable model, not going forward. So the educational focus, the educational initiatives that we want to take place, that will be hosted in these messages, will be funded by these Awqaf. And inshallah ta'ala, if you filled it out, you done? Everything done? Okay. So basically, what was it? Your name, email address, age, gender, expertise. Right. Why? Because we need to start, a lot of us don't know each other. We need to pull our resources together and let everybody stay in his or her lane. That's another problem that we have. Everybody trying to do everything. If we have a more focused approach, we'll be a lot more successful. And sorry for the delay in the salah. Inna hala waqtuha.